This is Stu Ellis with your Illinois Corn Connection, brought to you by Illinois Corn. Your corn crop was under a lot of stress this year, particularly with a shortage of water and difficulty in getting to the nitrogen you applied. Stress mitigation was one of the research priorities of Kyle Meese, Chief Agronomist for United Prairie Co-op at Tolono. How do you mitigate stress, is the proper term, with nitrogen?
So a couple of things that we're looking at a lot, Stu, is number one is what are your management practices? Are we looking at an application all in the fall? Are we looking at split applying? Are we looking at some random applications throughout the growing season? And that's all with the synthetic form. Then as we get into this class of understanding of biologicals and live bacteria, whether it's a Pivot Bio, an Envita, Nutritia In, an Amino, any of those products where you're actually utilizing live bacteria to harness atmospheric nitrogen, to me that's a whole nother play on this. When we have risk of loss on those synthetic nitrogen sources, whether through denitrification, leaching, volatilization, now you're talking about a bacteria that's either sprayed on the plants or placed in the root system that's there all season long and not lost. And I will say, as I've made a lot of observations, been out scouting fields, I could see some differences, especially when our mineralization level was low from capturing that because we were lacking rainfall for so many days, weeks in a row.
So would this indicate to some farmers that a blend of those would be the best way to manage risk?
To me, yes. I mean, I'm a big diversifier anyways. When I think of our own farming operation, we've got multiple hybrids we plant, multiple varieties we plant. We don't put all our nitrogen out. We don't put all our eggs in one basket. And I think diversifying that out and understanding, there's plenty of loss mechanisms out there, but which one could help benefit during this timing? That plant, whether it's corn or soybeans, it's demanding certain nutrition all season long. And sometimes we got to bridge that gap of when it's demanding it, but maybe it can't access it. So to me, some of these functions, some of these products that we're utilizing are bridges for that. And I've been impressed with what I've seen. I've studied this stuff for the last 3 years. Every year's been different. This one will be no different. We've got a study down here. It's got 27 different replicated treatments in it just to better understand it. And I'm excited to get that data back.
How is it performing, what you've seen so far?
So I always judge everything that we're doing, not only by comparing it versus a synthetic applied opponent, but then I also have strips out there that have no nitrogen, period. And the reason I put that no nitrogen out there, so number one, we can visually see what the symptomology would be when you're lacking nitrogen, but number two, so that we can better understand what the natural soil around here is mineralizing and producing. If it's not mineralizing very much, then I know all the nitrogen I applied, that plant's more dependent on it. If that no applied nitrogen strip ends up yielding pretty gosh darn good, then great. We're lucky around here with our soils that we have and how much high organic matter and how much mineralization we can sometimes get if we get the right environmental conditions. But I have to compare both.
Any other research you've done in stress mitigation of other stresses?
So the one thing, again, we talk about the nitrogen stress, we talk about abiotic stresses, and one of the things I've been utilizing, we're standing here with this is our old girl. She's an old research Hagee on a 20-foot boom, and then we have, old generation versus new generation with the drone. And one thing that I've been trying to better understand is we all have an 80-acre field or 160-acre field, and there's spots in that field that we always know, man, it's lower yielding or something's going on here. Maybe it's water holding capacity and I know I'm going to lose nitrogen. Can I go out there and make a variable rate applied application with something like a drone? I don't need to do the whole 80 acres, but I need to hit these 5 acres. And maybe I need to hit them with a nitrogen product or maybe a micronutrient product or some sort of algae based. Or do I need to take something like this and just hit the whole thing? And this is something that I'm really excited to dive in a little bit deeper as we keep going forward, and we've got some good data hopefully we'll be bringing back this year.
There's lots of drones on the market.
Yeah.
Why did you happen to pick this one, and what is it?
So this one here, this is an Agris DGI T30. The next size up from this is a T40, and all that means a T30 is a 30-liter tank or 8 gallons, 40 is 40-liter, now they're working on a T50. I wanted to do this strictly for research. So when we are trying to do all these late season studies, and sometimes it's hard for our operators to do it, where I want to do a 40 of an 80, or I need to do a 20 acres here, nothing here, 20 acres, nothing here. I can put a shape file in that drone, send it out there with some of my treatments, let it do its thing, let my intern team work with me, get those treatments and not have to bother anybody, excuse me. What's exciting about it is some of these growers, I said, hey, I'm going to go out here and do this. Well, what are you spraying? I'll tell you at harvest, just get me the yield data. And, they're putting their trust in me. I'm not putting something damaging out there, but it's the excitement of them coming out and seeing the drone first and foremost, and then understanding what this technology can potentially bring us in the future.
That was your Illinois Corn Connection. I'm Stu Ellis. To learn more about how Illinois Corn is working for you, Visit www.ilcorn.org.